And Jane and I believe very much in family values and strengthening families. But when I talk about family values, my views are a little bit different than Republicans' views on family values. And my view is that we should end the international embarrassment of being the only major country on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. Now, in Iowa today, and in Vermont, and all over this country, women are giving birth. And for those of you who are parents, you know what an unforgettable day and moment that is. And it's a pretty big day for the baby as well. But here's the story, which you also know to be true. And that is, if that mom is a working class woman or a low-income woman, it is likely that a week or 2 weeks after she gives birth, she is going to be forced to separate from her baby and go back to work in order to earn the income she needs to take care of the baby. That is not a family value. That is the opposite of a family value. And that is why I will fight as hard as I can to pass legislation which guarantees every American family 3 months of paid family and medical leave. When we talk about the economy and when we talk about unemployment, I think everybody knows that there is great anxiety in our country about the job situation. What do I mean by that? What happens if you are 55 years of age and you go to work? What are you worried about? You're worried that your employer may say, Joe, thanks so much for being with us for 30 years, but we have to let you go. And it turns out they're going to hire somebody half your age at half the wage. Or maybe you are just about at that moment where you're going to collect some pension benefits. And just amazingly enough, a year before you're going to get those benefits, you get laid off. Or maybe you are a college graduate in debt, but you're having a hard time finding work commensurate with the education. Or maybe you're a high school kid. You can't find any work at all. So there is great anxiety, I think, in this country about employment, especially in a highly volatile economy. In my view, given the fact that real unemployment is close to 10%, youth unemployment is off the charts, we need a massive federal jobs program to put millions of people back to work. We should be hiring teachers, not firing teachers. I'll tell you something else that we never, it's talked about much too rarely. Every psychologist who has ever studied the issue understands that the most important years of a human being's life are what? 0 to 4, right? Everybody knows that. From an intellectual and emotional point of view, those are the years that help shape us as human beings. And yet today, when mom is at work, when dad is at work, when families need and put their kids into pre-K or childcare, the truth is we have a dysfunctional childcare system. Some places are better, some places worse. But by and large, it is very hard in this country for working families to get the quality, affordable childcare they need. And that is why I think we should be hiring hundreds of thousands of well-trained, well-paid people to help with the youngest Americans among us. And when we talk about creating jobs, what the economists tell us is the fastest way to do it is to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. In Vermont, we have many bridges that are in desperate need of repair. That's true all over this country. Our roads are crumbling. Water systems, and I'm not just talking about Flint, Michigan here. Wastewater plants, airports, our rail system, levees and dams. We need to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. $1 trillion investment in 5 years will create 13 million decent paying jobs, and that is what I intend to do.
Yeah.
Now, I get attacked, people say, well, Bernie, your ideas sound nice, you sound like Santa Claus. How are you going to pay for all of these things? Fair question, I'll tell you how we're going to pay for that. Right now, we have an absurd and unfair tax system, if you haven't noticed. And among other things, we have major profitable corporations that make billions of dollars a year in profit, stashing their profits in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and other tax havens. And in a given year, some of them pay zero in federal income tax. I intend to end that loophole, have those corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. That's $100 billion a year that can go into rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating decent paying jobs.
Yeah.
And when we talk about creating a middle class economy, it's not only about the need to create jobs, it's the need to prevent the loss of jobs. Since 2001 in our country, we have lost about 60,000 factories. Not all of that is related to our disastrous trade policies, but a lot of it is. You are looking at a former congressman and a senator who has voted against NAFTA, CAFTA, permanent normal trade relations with China, and is helping to lead the effort against the TPP.
Yeah.
I think all of you know that these trade agreements were written by corporate America, the pharmaceutical industry, and big money interests. And what the goal of those trade agreements were, not very hard to understand, is to give these corporations a green light to shut down plants in Iowa and in Vermont and all over this country, throw people out on the street, move to a low-wage country, China, Vietnam, whatever, and then bring their products back into this country. I think we need a trade policy that works for working families in this country, works for poor people abroad, and not simply the CEOs of major corporations. Tonight, when you go home, you turn on the TV, every large corporation is going to say, buy this product and buy that product. Well, if they want us to buy their products, maybe they might want to think about manufacturing those products back in America and not in China. Now, during this, can everybody hear me in the back, by the way? Is this loud enough? Okay. If somebody wants to turn it up there, that would be great.